One election bill, following which a lot of uproar in fact was witnessed in Lok Sabha. There were several political opponents of the NDA that came out rejecting the idea of one nation, one election. In fact, they were of the opinion that this goes against principles of federalism. Interestingly, Home Minister Amit Shah also gave a brief rebuttal, and he said that the Prime Minister is of the opinion that the bill must be referred to a JPC. Speaking of Amit Shah, he's also going to be addressing the Rajya Sabha any minute now, so we're standing by for that. But first up, let's play out this reaction that's coming from a Law Minister who tabled the One Nation, One Election bill earlier this morning in the Parliament.
सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने केशवानंद भारती केस में 1973 में इस फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर के बारे में बात की है। उसमें 5-7 बिंदु उन्होंने तय किए हैं। बाद में और मामलों में भी कुछ बिंदु जोड़े हैं, कुछ विषय जैसे जुडिशियल रिव्यू, फेडरल कैरेक्टर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, सेपरेशन ऑफ पावर बिटवीन लेजिस्लेचर, एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड जुडिशरी, सेकुलर कैरेक्टर ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, सुप्रीमेसी ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। ये इस बिल में कहीं भी आघात नहीं हो रहा है, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है इसमें। जो बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर में कहीं भी कोई छेड़छाड़ नहीं की जा रही है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने केशवानंद भारती जजमेंट के साथ साथ वामन राव, एल चंद्रन कुमार ने कुछ सब्जेक्ट और जोड़े, लेकिन ये इससे कोई ना तो संसद की शक्ति में कमी आ रही है और ना कोई विधानसभा में शक्ति दी है संविधान, उसमें कमी आ रही है।
The bills which have been moved by the Honorable Minister of Law and Justice absolutely assault the basic structure of the Constitution and are beyond the legislative competence of this House, and therefore they need to be opposed ab initio, and the introduction of those bills have to be stopped.
ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग तानाशाही लाने के नित नए रास्ते लाते हैं। जो 8 विधानसभाओं का चुनाव एक साथ नहीं करा पाए, 4 राज्यों के चुनाव एक साथ नहीं करा पाए, वो पूरे देश की लोकसभा और सारे प्रांतों की विधानसभाएं एक साथ कराने की बात करते हैं।
This is not the election reform. It is just a fulfillment of one gentleman's desire and dream. Nothing more than that. This bill we are opposing for introduction, and at the same time, sir, when you will take into consider, kindly take a division. We want to oppose and we will show you our strength.
Sir, this bill violates the right to democratic self-government, which is part of Article 1419. And if a legislative assembly is dissolved, sir, and midterm elections are conducted, the tenure of that assembly will not be for 5 years, sir. This in itself is a violation of parliamentary democracy, which envisages a tenured legislature.
मैं अध्यक्ष जी जो बोले हैं वो ध्यान से सुना हूं। उन्होंने 72 के बाहर जाने का नहीं कहा है। उन्होंने कहा कि माननीय सदस्य मनीष तिवारी ने 72 का हवाला देकर जो विचार व्यक्त किए हैं और जो विरोध किया है, इस पर सदन का कोई भी सदस्य अपने विचार रख सकता है। अब कांग्रेस पार्टी में विचार रख सकता है मतलब विरोध ही करना है, मगर विचार व्यक्त कर सकते हैं इसका मतलब होता है पक्ष में भी बोल सकते हैं।
I want to quickly bring in my colleagues, Aman Sharma, Pallavi and Payal into the conversation. Aman, to you first. There are several voices coming in. We did see a fiery retort on part of the opposition that have seen this as a move opposing the federal structure of our constitution. But there are several constitutional experts who also pointed out that the government doesn't need a 2/3 majority to table a constitutional amendment bill. So what do the rules exactly say?
Well, see, to pass this constitutional amendment bill, they need a 2/3 majority, not to introduce it. So they have introduced it today and the bill will now go to a JPC. I think that the heart of the entire matter is that the ONOP bill is going to be one of the biggest challenges for the Modi government. See, when this is unlike I would say, the abrogation 370 bill, which the government was able to pass because that bill had a nationalistic fervor to it, and you even got support from the opposition ranks, and the BJP was able to pass it first in Rajya Sabha and then in Lok Sabha. Of course, the BJP had larger numbers in the Lok Sabha at that point of time. This time, what is happening with the ONOP bill is that the opposition seems totally united against this bill. The Congress party and the 3 big regional parties, which are the biggest opposition parties after the Congress, the TMC, the DMK and the Samajwadi party, and this is because the regional parties especially feel that ONOP BJP is a real threat to their whole existence. You know, if national elections and state elections happen together, they don't have those resources like the BJP and the Congress. They don't have that cadre, and they maybe a strong national leader of the BJP, Mr. Modi is there. He'll be able to influence the state election as well. So it is the regional parties which are really opposing this bill in the opposition ranks, and that is why the BJP has a big challenge at its hand to rally the two-third majority numbers both in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha to get this bill passed ultimately. Anyways, it's a long haul. The bill is not going to be a reality before 2034. It may go to a JPC where it may take several months for the reports to come, amendment may come in that as well. So the government wants to take, I think, a slow and cautious process of more consultation with political parties, you know, maybe even with state legislatures. Mr. Modi has directed that a JPC should also go in great length to it. So for the government, it's a challenge, but I think the opposition's reaction today is showing how much the opposition is going to be firmly opposed to any such legislation.
Thank you for that. Aman does put a lot of things in perspective, but I also want to understand from you how then the government plans to take this forward. With Aman also highlighting, and we've heard it from the Home Minister in the Lok Sabha earlier today, he said that the Prime Minister is also of the view that the One Nation, One Election bill must be referred to a JPC. So what's the plan in place on part of the NDA government next?
CNN 18 had reported this for the Prime Minister during the cabinet meeting had told his cabinet colleagues that it is important not just to take political parties but public also alongside them, and as far as such a legislation is concerned, and therefore wider consensus was required to be put into place to bring such a bill into place as well. Having said that, the government understands that the numbers are not stacked in their favor right now, and that's the reason they want to build a wider consensus. So they're hopeful that through the JPC, many doubts in the minds of the opposition parties, especially those parties who feel that the federal structure will be tampered with, parties who feel that basically the importance of regional players would be finished, those parties at least will get some sort of a solace and understanding, and they can discuss the bill threadbare and discuss it in great detail. Also, since the bill will need 50% ratification from the state, from the state assemblies, obviously discussion wider on a wider range, including that with the speakers from the assembly and the states, would also mean that more consensus will build as well. One thing is that the Prime Minister told all his cabinet colleagues on the day on which the bill was passed, essentially bill was passed by the cabinet, was said that there is no politics on this. This is, of course, a matter of public importance. And, each one of us has to go and explain to the public that this bill is going to be extremely important in their interest because it will help in curbing black money. It's going to bring in more, focus on governance. And, of course, we will have to make sure that accountability is also fixed as far as political expenses, etc. is really concerned. So that is something which the government has been saying about this entire reason of bringing the bill. And having said that, the moment the JPC is announced, which is likely to be announced tomorrow, the ball will set rolling, and of course the JPC will be given its term to examine as many people as they want, to ask as many people as they want to depose before them, so that it is a wider consensus can be built before the report comes in, and then further discussion takes place before the cabinet takes up the bill again for passage.
Okay, Pal, stay on with us. I have a follow-up question, but before that, Pallavi, Aman also briefly spoke about opposition unity as far as One Nation, One Poll is concerned, and this bill goes, which has now been tabled in Lok Sabha. There's one issue that the opposition, is speaking in one voice on. How, A, the opposition has managed to pull that off, B, what really explains the concerns being raised by the opposition? Is there any merit or weight in the opposition's criticism to the bill?
But I mean, Christy, not for me to judge if there's a merit, but certainly they are citing the 1972 Keshav Nand Bharti case, which, remember, the Supreme Court had said that the Parliament doesn't have the unlimited power to change the constitution. What essentially the pitch which is being made by the opposition parties is that this is going to bring about a sweeping constitutional amendment. It's also going to snatch the powers of all the state governments and many of the smaller regional parties. Of course, there has been a strong rebuttal coming in from the government on that first of all, it's not a sweeping constitutional amendment. It's incorrect to see this as tinkering with the basic freedom of the states. The federal structure is also not being touched upon. Only thing that is being done is to ensure that elections takes place simultaneously. There's no wastage of money, and there's not always a perennial 24/7 model code of conduct which hinders the development projects. But you're right, because I think not just in the JPC but beyond that, and the recourse, taking a legal recourse is something which India Bloc sources are telling us cannot be ruled out, and that's exactly the facts that they want to take across if they approach the court, that how they are, their rights are going to be endangered. They're talking about unity in diversity, that the federal structure ensures that the different people, different culture, which is what India is known for, all of them are protected. And particularly the concerns raised are those by regional parties like the TMC, like the DMK, who feel that their political relevance and existence is threatened if the ONOP becomes a reality.
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, the man who's been involved crucially in the consultative process so far, former President Ramnath Kovind, also briefly spoke about how this is going to up our GDP by 1.5% or more. So tell us about the explanation that the government is being able to offer in terms of economic factors as well.
See, in fact, interesting you asked this question, because Finance Ministry also at one point of time had actually broken down and given us statistics to point at how so many of the development projects, and why just the Finance Ministry, many of the infrastructural ministries had put out that there was a lot of wastage, there was a lot of manpower and money power which was wasted because there were ongoing projects, they had to be put on hold, extensions could not take place, we could not redevelop them only because we were supposed to halt them because of the Model Code of Conduct, which means that a lot of money was being wasted. A project, for example, which can be completed in a year would often take 2 to 3 years because there's a Model Code of Conduct. That is the high amount of wastage which is going to be meant. Second thing is in terms of sheer manpower. We know there are security concerns. You have to deploy the logistical help over there on the ground wherever the elections are taking place, which means a rapid movement of the CRPA forces, the security forces, manpower from schools, colleges to oversee the entire process, and they all have to be trained. All of this incurs a huge amount of expenditure, and it's not a one-time expenditure. It happens almost every 2 to 3 months. So there's a sound, and Prime Minister said that in News 18 in an earlier interview as well, Christine. There's sound economic sense why we can save money, and more importantly, we can ensure that there's development which is taking place.
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, Ramnath Kovind also called it a transformative initiative. So let's play out some of those reactions. Pallavi, stay on with us. We'll come back to you for more inputs on the next big story.
हमारी इकॉनमी 10 और 10:30 और 11 के बीच में पहुंच जाएगी, उस समय हमारा देश जो है वो जो इकॉनमी की लाइन में जो 3 या 4 देश खड़े होंगे उसमें उस पंक्ति में हमारा देश भी खड़ा हो जाएगा.
Anti-constitutional bill. It's against the federalism of our nation, and we are opposing the bill.
Arjun Ram Meghwal, the parliamentary law minister, tried to give a counter to what you said. Were you satisfied? He said legislative competence is there. He said federal structure is not being tinkered with, and this is not against Keshwanand Bharti.
No, it is number one, it is totally against the spirit, letter and spirit of the Keshwanand Bharti's case, S.R. Bommai's case. And further you see he has quoted Union List 72. If you go through the list 72, it is regarding the conduct of elections in Parliament and the Legislative Assemblies, not the dissolution of the Assembly. Here this constitutional amendment empowers the government and the Election Commission to dissolve a Legislative Assembly which was duly elected by the people of that state or by the electorate. Is it constitutional? How can such an amendment be carried on by the Parliament? So he didn't reply to the questions posed by the opposition leaders regarding the federal character, that is the basic features of the constitution. That is why I have said that Kesavanandi Bharati versus Union of India, and in S.R. Bommai's case also, it is elaborately explained all these issues. And I have quoted another point also, Article 368. Yes, there is no specific explicit provision regarding this issue. That is, more than half of the legislature has to consent for this passing of this. But in a case, I have already cited in a case 1993 regarding the anti-defection law. That is a 52nd constitutional amendment when go to the judicial review. The Supreme Court has struck down 2 paragraphs of the that bill, saying that it has not got the concurrence from the state legislative assemblies from the state because it is affecting the legislative assemblies. 368, there is no specific provision. Right. So Supreme Court, that precedent is there. So many complications are also there.
5 ईयर टर्म है, उसके साथ खिलवाड़ नहीं कर सकते। ये एक गलत नीति आयोग के रिपोर्ट के आधार पर ये कहना चाहते हैं कि 5 ईयर टर्म अनिवार्य नहीं है। 5 ईयर टर्म अनिवार्य है, ये नीति आयोग के रिपोर्ट में नहीं जाए। नीति आयोग कोई संवैधानिक कोई बॉडी नहीं है जो इस प्रकार का ये परामर्श दे पाए। तो इसीलिए मैं बस इतना ही कहना चाहूंगा कि ये दोबारा अगर इनको लगता है कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी पर के प्रचार से ये पूरे ये भारत के चुनाव को छीनेंगे, तो हम ये चोरी नहीं होने देंगे और हम बिल का विरोध करते हैं। इस बिल को जेपीसी में भेजा जाए।
And shifting our focus to the next big political controversy, which was triggered by first Priyanka Gandhi Vadra yesterday, flaunting a bag which had Palestine inscribed on it. This happened yesterday, cut to today, when she was seen carrying a bag wherein she was showing solidarity with Bangladeshi Hindus. Now, her bags have caused a controversy and has drawn BJP's ire. BJP has called this hypocrisy and tokenism on her part. In fact, has asked her to clear her stand on CAA. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath also gave an interesting reaction while taking a swipe at the Congress MP. Said Priyanka Gandhi was roaming around the parliament with this bag from Palestine while we continue to send scores of youth from Uttar Pradesh to Israel. Listen in.
कल कांग्रेस के एक नेत्री संसद में फिलिस्तीन का बैग लेके घूम रही थी और हम यूपी के नौजवानों को इजराइल भेज रहे हैं। वहां पर यूपी के अब तक लगभग 5,600 से अधिक नौजवान इजराइल गए हैं निर्माण कार्य करने के लिए, और हर नौजवान रहने का फ्री, खाने का फ्री और 1.5 लाख रुपए उसको वहां पे अतिरिक्त मिल रहे हैं और पूरी सुरक्षा की गारंटी भी है।
इंदिरा गांधी ने अपने प्रधानमंत्रित्व काल में फिलिस्तीन की आवाज़ उठाई थी। आज वही सोनिया गांधी भी कर रही, वही प्रियंका गांधी भी कर रही। सबने कांस्टेंट स्टैंड रखा है। जो सरकारें आई हैं उनका एक तरफा स्टैंड रहा है कि फिलिस्तीन की भूमि पर आक्रमण नहीं होना चाहिए, अतिक्रमण नहीं होना चाहिए। अगर प्रियंका गांधी कह रही तो मैं तो यही कहूँगा जो इंदिरा जी ने किया था उसी रास्ते पे चल रही। अब अगर फिलिस्तीन की आवाज़ उठाओ, यूक्रेन पे आपकी खामोशी, जहां तमाम भारतीय फंसे हैं, कायरता बुज़दिलाना दिखाती है। और मैं पूछना चाहता हूं भारतीय जनता पार्टी से, जो बांग्लादेश में हिंदुओं के साथ हो रहा है उस पर आपकी खामोशी, कायरता, दुर्बलता, बुज़दिलाना हरकत की जितनी निंदा की जाए कम है।
देखिए, वो इंदिरा गांधी की पोती है, जवाहरलाल की परनातनी है, तो वो कुछ भी कर सकती हैं। उनको फिलिस्तीनी से प्रेम है, पाकिस्तानी से प्रेम है, बांग्लादेश से प्रेम है, उनको हिंदुस्तान से प्रेम नहीं।
All right, so those are the kind of responses coming in, especially from the Bharatiya Janata Party, posing a series of questions with Priyanka Gandhi Vadra criticizing her move to flash that bag that she was carrying in the Parliament complex yesterday and carrying on with that attack today while she showed solidarity with Bangladeshi Hindus. In fact, like I said, the BJP was quick to highlight Congress leaders' alleged hypocrisy when it comes to their stand on CAA and said that this exposes the double standards with the Congress is trying to use this to its advantage against the BJP. Going across to Pallavi Ghosh on that note, Pallavi, very interesting that this in a sense has become a fresh ammunition for the BJP to take on the Congress, because for the longest time now they've used the CAA card against the Congress party, and yet another perhaps card up their sleeves to take on the Congress now.
Oh yes, absolutely. And and also the BJP is reading Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's carrying of this Bangladesh bag today as an afterthought and as a kind of a damage control. We saw the kind of furor which really took place, Christine, when she was carrying the bag, which was clearly in favor of Palestine. And then it became about whataboutery. They asked her this question that why don't you show a similar kind of a solidarity when it comes to the minorities being attacked in Bangladesh? Though, of course, she tried to raise that issue outside the house when she said that the government needs to do more as far far as the Bangladesh minorities, which are the Hindus as well as the Christians, are concerned. But today, when it was a concerted effort, you're seeing not just her, but most of the Congress MPs carry this bag. The BJP is not impressed and convinced. They feel that, she's only doing it because it's all about optics and nothing about substance. And also when she talks about the CAA, when she talks about how more needs to be done, it is going to be called out as an hypocrisy where the heart actually bleeds as far as minorities are concerned. Her choice of Wayanad, which a large amount of minority population, is also being raised by the BJP as the reason why the Congress party jumps in defense of the Palestinians and not so much when it comes to the minorities being targeted in Bangladesh.
Pallavi, what's also interesting is while the BJP says, that this is mere optics by the Congress leader, the BJP also has been saying that this adds to what the Congress has been doing with regards to their merchandise politics. The manner in which, they're flashing these objects in the Parliament complex repeatedly. So it's in line with the BJP attack, isn't it?
And not only that, Christine, not just the BJP, many of the India Bloc allies are also very upset with the fact that how the Congress party, for example, uses masks and has those mock interviews, saying that there's a maryada of parliament which is compromised each time when the Congress party comes out with what they call a unique form of protest.
We seem to have lost that line with Pallavi. Many thanks, Pallavi, though, for breaking down all those very important details. Let's see how this plays out and whether or not Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has yet another symbolic attack to unleash at the Bharatiya Janata Party. For now, let's listen into how the BJP is responding to these optics.
ये प्रियंका वाड्रा का टोट बैग नहीं, ये प्रियंका वाड्रा का सिंबॉलिक वोट बैग है। एक नया बैग निकला है माइनॉरिटीज ऑफ बांग्लादेश। अरे वाह प्रियंका जी, जरा बताइए ये माइनॉरिटीज कौन है, जरा नाम लेकर बताते ना। हिंदूज, वैसे तो आप बोलते रहते हैं पूरे देश में कि मुस्लिम्स आर अंडर थ्रेट, इस्लामोफोबिया है। यहाँ तो आइडेंटिफाई हो जाता है विक्टिम आपका, वहां पे विक्टिम आइडेंटिफाई नहीं हो रहा है आपका। बांग्लादेश में माइनॉरिटीज आर अंडर थ्रेट। We stand with minorities. Why not say that you stand with Hindus? साफ साफ क्यों नहीं बोलते? व्हाइट वॉशिंग का बैग है ये सिंबोलिज्म और टोकनिज्म की निशानी है ये। और सवाल ये बनता है कि माइनॉरिटीज और बांग्लादेश की चिंता आज कर रही हैं। सीए लॉ विरोध किसने किया? सीए लॉ जिसका पूरा का पूरा लक्ष्य था कि ऐसे प्रताड़ित लोगों को सुरक्षा दी जाए, उसका विरोध करने के लिए एक बैग कैरी कीजिए कि हम माफी मांगते हैं कि सीए का विरोध किया।
जब लातूर में भूकंप हुआ या गुजरात में भूकंप हुआ, हमने कभी देखा नहीं कि प्रियंका गांधी जी वहाँ पर गए ना। जब दक्षिण भारत में सुनामी हुई तब प्रियंका गांधी वहाँ पर गए, लेकिन अभी वो बांग्लादेश के नाम पर, फ़लस्तीन के नाम पर एक बैग लेके, हैंड बैग लेके पार्लियामेंट आ रही है। मुझे लगता है अगर सचमुच उन्हें बांग्लादेश में हिंदुओं की चिंता है तो उनको बांग्लादेश जाना चाहिए।
आज हमको देख के आश्चर्य हो रहा है, हमारा विपक्ष हमेशा भारत के माइनॉरिटी, यानी माइनॉरिटी बोलना भी सही नहीं, मुसलमानों को लोग के ही चिंतित रही है। भारत में तो माइनॉरिटी शब्द का अर्थ ही चेंज हो गया। भारत में तो कांग्रेस ने और हमारे विरोधियों ने माइनॉरिटी मतलब मुस्लिम ये कर दिया, और अब वो हिंदुओं के लिए यहाँ पे चिल्ला रहे हैं। तो ये सच में भारत में बड़ा परिवर्तन है और शायद ये मोदी मैजिक है।
अब राजनीति में बैग से राजनीति होगी, बैग से देश चलेगा, यही दुखद है। अब बैगवा तो हम लेके चला, कोनो बैग तो ही नहीं तो हम भी भगवा पहन लेंगे। अब इसे तो देश ना चली, देश चलता तर्क वितर्क करने से, विचारों से, विजन से। बैग से देश चलने लगा, बैग से क्या संदेश है हमको ये समझ में नहीं आता। अब वो जमाना गया है कि बैग दिखाएं और टोपा दिखाएं और टोपी दिखाएं, उससे नहीं चली देश। अब मोदी जी ने बातों से, कर्मों से, कार्यों से, ईमानदारी से, विजन से, दूरदृष्टा सोच से देश चलेगा। इकोनॉमी को स्ट्रांग करना है, बैग से देश नहीं चलता भैया।
So there are the several reactions that have come in from the Bharatiya Janata Party to that latest bag which was flashed by Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Quick break with that, viewers. We'll be right back with lots more when we return. Keep watching.
MDH का किचन किंग।
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
We
Want to know the
We
they're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that. Maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
The 33rd United States Military Academy Chaplain, Colonel David Oles. I invite you to pray with me. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of my nation. This tradition reflects not just the spirit of competition, but the enduring ideals of our nation of selfless service, sacrifice, and commitment. And we stand in awe of these cadets and midshipmen. Bless these warriors. Bless those who cheer them on. And God bless the United States of America.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know the they're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that. Maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
The 33rd United States Military Academy Chaplain, Colonel David Oles. I invite you to pray with me. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of my nation. This tradition reflects not just the spirit of competition, but the enduring ideals of our nation of selfless service, sacrifice, and commitment. And we stand in awe of these cadets and midshipmen. Bless these warriors. Bless those who cheer them on. And God bless the United States of America.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 and it's time for us to get you details of the latest CNN News 18 mega exclusive. This after Donald Trump's announcement on tariff threats for Canada. Now we're learning that in the latest Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is under pressure after the resignation of Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland. Trudeau has been accused of minority appeasement, especially with regards to his sympathy for the Khalistani cause in the country. Now, though we're learning that in the latest, after Donald Trump's announcement, top intelligence sources say that the Deputy Prime Minister resigned over differences in the two leaders wanting to handle the US President-elect Donald Trump's proposed tariffs on Canadian imports. I want to go across to Siddhant, joining us with more details. Siddhant, the two leaders were at odds with regards to how they want to deal with the challenge that has been thrown in by the US President-elect Donald Trump on Canadian imports. Tell us about these differences and what really is happening in the latest as far as the leadership crisis in Canada is concerned.
Well, see, this is what top intel sources are telling Manoj Gupta, that there was clashes between Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland as far as the policy is concerned. And in fact, according to reports, Freeland and Trudeau had disagreements over government proposal for temporary tax breaks and other spending measures. After Deputy Prime Minister Freeland resigned due to differences over handling US President Trump proposed tariff on Canadian imports. Now, Freeland's resignation has intensified problem of Trudeau's leadership, and with recent polls showing him trailing 25 points behind Conservative leader PSA Polper. This is perhaps, this resignation has put Justin Trudeau quite in a spot, because, the perception, the message which has gone after Freeland's exit is that he wanted to handle Donald Trump's tax tariff, in a better way than Justin Trudeau. And since Justin Trudeau was not on the same page with which as far as the way of handling this tax tariff, she had to step down. So perhaps this has put Justin Trudeau in a spot. Now, the key challenges Trudeau faces include economic policy disagreements, leadership crisis is another problem. Upcoming elections are expected in 2025. So Trudeau is facing significant challenge from the Khalistani front also. Remember, Trudeau's comments sparked outrage in India within the Indian government, dismissing the allegations as absurd and motivated. In fact, former Canadian Cabinet Minister Ujjal Dosanjh also blamed Trudeau for aggravated Khalistani movement issue in Canada. So all the voices which supported Trudeau initially when he started his political journey perhaps are now speaking against him. And since he has failed to deliver on the domestic front, whether it's cost of living, inflation, unemployment, so on and so forth. So now what he's doing is that he is doing theatrics by siding with the Khalistani groups, making allegations on India for the foreign interference, making allegations on China. So perhaps Trudeau is doing all these things to consolidate his position. But this time around, what has happened is Deputy Prime Minister stepping down perhaps puts blame on Justin Trudeau, that since he wanted to handle Donald Trump in a much more stronger way, but Trudeau didn't let her do that. That's kind of a message which has gone after Chrystia Freeland's resignation, and this has put Justin Trudeau in a spot also, because the other MPs in the Liberal Party are now demanding his resignation, because liberals believe that they cannot win election if they go in elections with Justin Trudeau's face, because he is highly unpopular. His approval ratings are 20 points, perhaps. That is miserable. And if party goes to election with his face, perhaps it's going to be debacle for the Liberals in Canada.
Oh yes, absolutely. And the Deputy Prime Minister, Ms. Freeland, may actually have a different opinion on this, coming from a place of experience, since she's also served as the Finance Minister and perhaps had a different vision for the country, economically speaking. Many thanks, Siddhant, for putting all of that in perspective. It's time for us to head into a very short break. We'll be right back.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know the truth? They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that. Maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
The 33rd United States Military Academy Chaplain, Colonel David Olis. I invite you to pray with me. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker and maker. This tradition reflects not just the spirit of competition, but the enduring ideals of our nation of selfless service, sacrifice, and commitment. And we stand in awe of these cadets and midshipmen. Bless these warriors, bless those who cheer them on, and God bless the United States of America.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know the truth? They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that. Maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
The 33rd United States Military Academy Chaplain, Colonel David Olis. I invite you to pray with me. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker and maker. This tradition reflects not just the spirit of competition, but the enduring ideals of our nation of selfless service, sacrifice, and commitment. And we stand in awe of these cadets and midshipmen. Bless these warriors.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned. Let's quickly shift our attention to another breaking news update coming in with regards to the tabling of the One Nation, One election bill in Lok Sabha earlier today. We're learning, as per top BJP sources, that the BJP is likely to seek action against the MPs who are missing from voting today. Any MP who is missing without permission will have to answer a show cause notice. And we're learning close to 20 BJP MPs were in fact missing from Lok Sabha. I want to go across to Payal Mehta joining us with more details. Payal, earlier the BJP had also issued a whip to all its MPs to appear in Lok Sabha today. So tell us about the action that's being mulled on part of the top brass, and what's the reasoning really here? Because even if these 20 MPs were present indeed, the number game would have not changed the fortunes for the NDA.
But how would one assume that the numbers would not have changed for the BJP? And that's the reason a whip was issued, Kritsween. It was a very serious whip which was issued because, the opposition parties asked for division, which means every vote would have counted. So close to 20 MPs wouldn't have shown up today is what we're given to understand. They haven't shown up, in fact. And that's the reason they've been asked to answer will be asked to answer a show cause notice is what we're given to understand. Because the whip is binding on a party member, unless otherwise one has sought an exemption in advance. For example, today, Union Minister C.R. Patil, Union Minister Bhagirath Chaudhary were two MPs who were not present today. The Prime Minister himself, was a member of the Lok Sabha, was not present today because he had pre-announced programs as well, and that is why the party had given them exemptions. But what is the reason for the remaining members not to be present today? That's something which the party is going to seek, because remember, BJP is a very, very disciplined unit, and like I said, that they prepare for everything in the most sternest and the most strictest fashion. So obviously, MPs will have to be answerable as to why did they miss the proceedings of the House, because there are times in which I remember earlier, a couple of years ago, when there was an amendment which was brought in Rajya Sabha, because many members of parliament were missing, that amendment was turned by the likes of Digvijay Singh, etc., on the BJP. So the BJP is a party which does not believe in taking chances. They're very, very strict and very, very disciplined unit as well. So that's what we are given to understand. They might seek response from the MPs who are missing in today's proceedings.
And the intention seemed to be clear, Payal, isn't it? That, this was more about displaying full show of strength on part of the ND and those supporting the bill. Many thanks, Payal, for sharing all those details with us. A quick break with that. We'll be right back. Keep watching.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster.
We
want to know the
truth.
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that. I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
The 33rd United States Military Academy Chaplain, Colonel David Olis. I invite you to pray with me. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker and maker. This tradition reflects not just the spirit of competition, but the enduring ideals of our nation of selfless service, sacrifice, and commitment. And we stand in awe of these cadets and midshipmen. Bless these warriors, bless those who cheer them on, and God bless the United States of America.
government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
We
Want to
should
know the
come down.
truth?
What?
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that. I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5. Viewers, let's talk about the latest update coming in from Karnataka. This is the state government, the state assembly rather, passing the State Rural Development and Panchayat Raj University Bill. The Chief Minister will be the Chancellor instead of usual practice of the Governor heading state universities. This bill also seeks to give him the power to choose the Vice Chancellor from the panel of 3 names suggested by a search committee. And when this contentious bill was in fact tabled in the Assembly, one was surely expecting a fierce debate in the House, and that's what happened. Following this, the BJP staged a walkout, alleging that the Governor's powers are being curtailed. Harish Upadhyay joins us with more details. Take us through the several contours of the bill, and how the BJP continues to object to the fact that this bill surely is aimed at curtailing the powers of the Governor in this case.
Well, the BJP says that the existing practice is for the Governor to be the Chancellor of any state university, and the Governor then decides to appoint a Vice Chancellor depending on his discretion, depending on the feedback that he gets. In this case, they are saying that both these powers have been curtailed. The Chief Minister is the Chancellor, and the Vice Chancellor will be appointed by the Chief Minister himself based on the suggestion given by the search committee. The larger fear is that the government now might use this as a tool to further similar amendments to various other state universities. It's in a way the showdown between the Governor and the government, which has been going on ever since the Governor gave gave investigation sanctions in the Muda case, and that went to the High Court. Remember, it's pending before a division bench of the High Court. Ever since that, we have seen the standoff continuing. The Governor sending a record 11 bills, returning those bills to Karnataka government, in some cases seeking clarification, and now this another move, which once again is part of the showdown between the Governor and the government.
Harish, also if you could elaborate on what the BJP plans to do next. Are they planning to legally challenge this, or are there any options that the BJP can weigh in on? Especially because, like you rightly pointed out, this seems to be just an extension of the face-off between the Governor and the Congress ever since Muda scam details and the probe came to light.
Perhaps now the BJP would wait to see how the Raj Bhavan responds. Remember, this bill has just been cleared by the lower house of the Karnataka Assembly. This has to go to the council, the upper house of the Karnataka Assembly. From there, it will have to go to the Raj Bhavan. Would the Raj Bhavan then clear this? Would the Governor send it back or seek some sort of a legal opinion? That's something that will play out in the coming few weeks. And the BJP would wait for that to happen before deciding on whether they want to challenge this in the High Court.
Okay, many thanks for getting us all those details, Harish. With that, viewers, let's quickly shift our attention to the latest visuals coming to light from Chennai. Yes, the chess world champion who's being spoken of by each and every Indian. These are visuals that are coming in as we speak from Chennai, a victory parade in Chennai, honoring D. Gukesh, the youngest world chess champion. So yes, let's talk about these visuals that you see on your screens. The man of the moment, really, who every Indian is talking about with so much pride. The second Indian after legendary Vishwanath Anand to win the global title. Remember, Vishwanath Anand, also known as Vishy Anand, of course, was the 5-time world champion who last won the crown in 2012. And given the final face-off between D. Gukesh and his Chinese opponent, everybody's been all praises about this young a superstar, sports star in the country. I want to go across to Purnima joining us with more details. A victory parade, that we see D. Gukesh take part in. Purnima, tell us about what the mood on the ground is.
Huge roadshow here. It's a procession on the Mount Road here for Gukesh. You can see a lot of students from the sports department here queuing up to congratulate Gukesh. This is a mega roadshow that's organized just ahead of the felicitation that's planned by the Tamil Nadu government. This is the Mount Road, and you can see scores of people here congratulating him. He's getting a hero's reception here in Chennai just a day after he reached. He's the youngest World Chess champion, and you can see the kind of crowds that have gathered here on the Mount Road to congratulate him. And these are students who say that he's an inspiration and he is our pride. And you can see there Gukesh in an open air vehicle holding the trophy, and that's Gukesh for you on the screen. And there are scores of people from the sports department who've come here, and they say he's certainly an inspiration. And on your screen you can see Gukesh here receiving a hero's reception here in Chennai.
Purnima, I'm sure the excitement, is too much from where you're reporting and you're getting us these visuals. But can you get us some of those voices as well of people taking part in this victory parade alongside Gukesh?
Well, in fact, I'll try to get a couple of reactions for you from here. So how does it feel?
Very happy, ma'am.
You're very happy? He's upright. Are you also interested in sports, particularly in chess?
No, ma'am.
No. So, if I can get you a couple of more reactions, a lot of people here are queuing up. What sort of an inspiration is Gukesh? Are you very proud of his achievement at such a young age? Are you very proud of him at such a young age? Pride on a moment,
Yes, proud.
You're very proud of him.
Yes.
So you also want to become like him and achieve.
I also will achieve in many more games and event. I will try with them.
So what is your specialization?
My specializing, I will playing weightlifting. My will more achievement than next year.
Yeah. So he's an inspiration for many people who are interested in sports, who are pursuing sports. A lot of people here queuing up. These are youngsters. Would any of you like to speak? What is your message to Gukesh? So a lot of them are, in fact, some of them are shy to speak to us, but we'll try to get you more reactions. Would any of you like to speak about Gukesh? So, okay, we'll try to get you more reactions from the girls on the other side. They are quite interested in speaking to us. What is your message to Gukesh? Gukesh, can a message? How proud on a moment for you all?
ரொம்ப ப்ரௌடா இருக்கு.
ரொம்ப ப்ரௌடா இருக்கு.
நம்ம இன்ஸ்பிரேஷனா எடுக்கலாம். உண்மையிலேயே ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளா நமக்கு அமைஞ்சிருக்காரு.
So he's an inspiration, and he's also making them proud. He motivates them to do better. நீங்களா அவர மாதிரி அச்சீவ் பண்ணனும், இந்த மாதிரி அவார்ட் நிறைய கிடைக்கும்னு ஆசைப்படுறீங்களா?
நிறைய ஆசைப்படுறோம்.
So now they are also motivated, and they say he's certainly the source of inspiration for many, and he's there. This is the roadshow that's planned for Gukesh by the Tamil Nadu government. He'll be felicitated by the Tamil Nadu government. You can see Gukesh there holding the trophy, and this is the mega roadshow on the Mount Road. A few minutes from now, the state government will felicitate him, and that's Gukesh for you. He's holding the trophy, and he's in fact made a lot of youngsters proud. So that's the feeling that we get from Gukesh. Gukesh.
Okay, so a tight-lipped D. Gukesh there, waving the tricolour. And of course, scores of fans have lined up to watch him in person, take part in the victory parade. He's going to be felicitated up next by the Tamil Nadu government as well. But let's use this moment to really hail the contributions made by Gukesh as far as chess in the country is concerned going forward. He was first introduced to the game at the age of 6, 7. At 17, he's seen the world. You know, the 18-year-old Gukesh has become the youngest world chess champion after beating Ding Liren of China in the 14th and the last game of the summit clash. And everybody really, Poonam, has been talking about that nail-biting clash, isn't it? You know, the 14th and the last game of a roller coaster showdown which went down to the wire. And that's why there are several who've been associated with Gukesh through this journey who've said that they've been amazed at his self-awareness and maturity. Poonam, do you also get a sense that Gukesh perhaps is a little overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and support?
Hello.
Well, you can see a lot of excitement here. In fact, Gukesh, we just tried speaking to him some time ago. He said in fact, it feels great, huge reception for him. And he says that he'll speak more in detail, but that's the word that we are getting in from Gukesh. A lot of people here are in fact very proud of him, and his parents too are here. We'll try to get in a few more reactions from him and his family, but at the moment they say that they will speak in detail later, and there are scores of youngsters who in fact are very proud of him. So what is your message to Gukesh?
Congratulations to Gukesh. He is big inspiration to all of us. Okay. Domalu Gukesh is a big player. I know him 2 years before. He and his coach Vishy Anand is all of us inspiration. Thank you.
So are you also interested in chess?
Yeah, we are playing physical chess, that is fencing. So we like chess. It's a mind game.
It's a mind game. Okay. So what is your message to Gukesh?
We simply congratulate him.
And how does it feel? At 18, he's.
It's very proud moment for us. He's very youngest one in this game.
So you can see here the state government is all set to felicitate Gukesh, and you can see scores of fans on both sides here to receive him. He's in fact gotten a hero's reception here. Some of them are even getting an autograph of Gukesh as he's all set to attend the state government event. On both sides, you have a lot of youngsters from various schools participating in various sports. Also here to receive him, to congratulate him, and to get motivated by the success, by the journey of Gukesh. Back to you.
Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, Purnima, he's somebody who's pulled off many firsts. It was just when he was 12 years old, he became the youngest Indian Grandmaster, the third youngest globally, continued breaking barriers, becoming the youngest to achieve a rating of 2,750, youngest winner of the candidates tournament as well. And there's been no looking back ever since. Have you also spot? What have they been saying?
Well, in fact, a lot of them are interested in sports now. They say that it certainly is a mind game. And that the state government is also trying to have more chess tournaments in Chennai, which would pave way for more and more children and youngsters to pursue sports. How many of you here are interested in chess? You are interested? So now with Gukesh को कप கிடைக்கிறது உங்களுக்குலாம் எவ்வளவு ஒரு வெற்றியா பாக்குறீங்க செஸ் இன்னும் செஸ் நிறைய கேம்ஸ் ப்ளே பண்ணி பெரிய There's one guy who's interested in chess says that Gukesh certainly is a source of inspiration and will help him pursue a career in chess, and a lot of them are involved in various sport activities, and they are here to receive Gukesh. You can see just a few meters from here is where the event to felicitate him is scheduled. It's at 6 p.m. Chief Minister Stalin, Deputy Chief Minister Udayanidhi Stalin will in fact arrive at the venue shortly, and then the felicitation program begins.
Okay, so the grand honours for the Indian chess grandmaster and reigning world champion, the youngest in the world, continues in Chennai, and we'll cut across to those visuals as and when they come in. That's all the time we have in this edition of Nation at 5. Over to my colleague Poonam Burde for Plain Speak.
Good evening. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde, and we're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Green Lamb Laminates. Is India ready for simultaneous elections? Well, the government pushed forth with the One Nation, One Election bill today. 269 people voted in favour of the motion of the bill being tabled, while 198 members of the Lok Sabha opposed it. Now, the Law Minister is expected to bring in a motion to send the bill to a joint parliamentary committee. He will also outline who those members of that JPC will be. Opposition parties, meanwhile, raised concerns that the bill is essentially against the spirit of the Constitution, against